I think the two main environmental issues that most communities, particularly outside of developed nations, are deforestation and then water quantity and quality. We've got booming human populations in lots of areas, and that has implications for water quality in that we're producing more chemicals that we use to live our lives. Those chemicals have to end up somewhere. Often they end up in our streams or our wetlands, and then that's compromising the water quality that we use for drinking and for livestock and for agriculture, and also for our industries. FAO, the Food and Agricultural Organization, that are making predictions for us to run out of clean drinking water supplies, say within the next 100 years, if we don't change what we're doing and how we're operating. Conservation programs going on all over the world, and many of them end in failure. They don't end up achieving the goals that they hope to achieve. And if we could learn what makes a conservation program successful, in the same way that if we could learn what makes an environmental program, grassroots program successful, we could learn from that, and we could ensure that a greater percentages of those programs as they arise are successful or become successful. Those programs that are successful will have strong partnerships, typically with NGOs, non-governmental organizations, or conservation groups, often from outside of the country, that can bring resources in, often financial resources, often academic expertise or scientific expertise that they can bring to the program. And the other thing I see that's common between these successful programs is projects or programs or movements that have had a single or very few dedicated leaders over a long period of time, and maybe even decades. And we see with the example of Wangari Maathai, she stuck with that work for 40 years and it continues to be successful. She got that program, the Greenbelt movement, up and running in her country and now in other countries, and her sticking with that for so many decades is, I think, the thing that led to the success of the project. We're often talking about rural people. Maybe they're not well educated. They know there's a problem and they know they need to do something about the problem, but maybe they don't have the connections outside of their country or even within their country to people that can help them leverage resources. The best way those movements can work is probably to try to make connections within country and convince people with strong environmental conservation types of backgrounds that their cause is worthy of working toward, build those connections within country, and then expect those connections, those people that maybe have that sort of scientific or academic clout, to then reach out beyond their country. You can have a great leader, and if they don't have people that understand the problem in the way they do, and they don't have people that at that grassroots level that support trying to solve the problem, they will get nowhere. Especially rural villagers are so much more closely tied to the land than you and I are, and they're going to get this stuff more quickly than you or I might get it, because they see the problems arising before their very eyes, and they're not economically comfortable that they're removed from the land like many people in developing countries can be. It really takes that leader being able to communicate the information in a way that's accessible to those people, and to gradually over time build support for the movement. We see examples all over the world of both men and women being successful in starting grassroots environmental movements and making them be successful. Especially in a patriarchal society, women can often have more success than men. Women are very often the ones who are gathering the water. They're growing crops for their own families. They're cooking for their families. They're collecting firewood for their families. Men are often off doing agriculture for somebody else to earn a wage, or working in the mining industry or the timber industry, working for somebody else so that they can make a wage and bring it home. But because the women are often walking the 5 or 10 kilometers to the water source to get the water for the family, they're outgrowing the crops underneath the fig tree, for example. They are collecting the firewood and seeing the loss of forest that's available for firewood over time. They've often got a closer connection to those resources on the ground around their villages and in their communities. They're seeing these changes day to day, so they may be more likely to perceive a problem, an environmental problem that's occurring as it's occurring, and they may be able to sound the alarm more quickly than men may. As soon as a young man or a teenage boy is able to start working, he is often sent off to start working and bringing home some money for the family. And what's going on with the young girls is that at that time is they are their mom's sidekick. They are going to the agricultural fields with their moms, they're collecting the firewood, they're collecting the water, and there's this oral tradition of the mom conveying that environmental information to their daughters in a way that the young boys at some point don't get any longer. And so the mom is continuing this tradition of identifying that environmental problem because they're seeing it while it's happening and transferring that information to their daughters so their daughters grow up being aware of these environmental problems. I'm not going to say that women will be better at solving the problem, but women have an opportunity because of the kinds of roles that they play in those families to see the problem and to sound the alarm. As you've got women gathering natural resources to provide for families, it's often men who are in governmental positions, and they are the ones who are often deciding, do we want to bring in this mining company from Norway to mine our land? The men are the ones that are making the decisions that are often compromising environmental quality. Women are in this role of chronicling this environmental degradation and teaching their daughters about them, and men are often in the role of making decisions about activities that lead to deforestation, pollution of groundwater, etc. So that's why women may be in a better position, at least to get the movement started.
I think that it is very, very important to continue encouraging our governments and ourselves that the environment is not really an issue for tomorrow. The environment is an everyday issue. It's the air we breathe, it's the water we drink, it's the food we eat, and we can't live without these things.